我が名はユーハ・バッハ。お前のすべてを奪うものだ。
Hey guys, so this video is about the presentation material for the investors that Klab holds every quarter. So every quarter, they just report all their financial results, as well as some indication on how their titles are performing, the future plans, the strategy that they have in mind, and so on. So it's very interesting to look at this because those numbers give us an indication of what's to come for Bleach Brave Souls, as well as the direction the company is taking. For example, in the past, one of their presentation gave us indication at them introducing the passport models which is a revenue, like recurring revenue model in the form of a subscription. So I'm going to pass on all the details essentially, and I'm going to focus just on bits that are related to Bleach Brave Souls. So revenue and profits declined from the previous quarter due to cooling off following the anniversary campaign. By the way, so this is Q4 2020. So the previous quarter was Q3 including the anniversary for Bleach Brave Souls. So that is why they're saying it is the quarter following the cooling off after the anniversary for Bleach Brave Souls. So this is like the last 4 months of 2020. They also note that the new title Tales of Crestonia, that I think was released in 2020, has started to decline already, which is it's been released in July 2020, and boom, it's already like declining because they have multiple strategies to maintain an equal level of revenues. Some of the strategies are to just release new game titles that are just going to be like here for a quick buck. So they release them, make a quick buck out of it, which enables them to, to make up for some of the losses on other titles. And that's part of their strategy. Other thing is some of the game have had some decrease, like Love Live and Captain Tsubasa Dream Team. Anyway, Bleach Brave Souls, so that's what they said. So cooling off from the 5th anniversary campaign in the previous quarter led to decreases in revenue for both the Japanese and the global version. As for the Asian version, decrease is due to the cooling off down after the release. So like big hype after on the release, and then boom, all the way down. As you can see, this is the year 2020 in a nutshell. By the way, year 2020 was a record sales year for Klab. Like they made a lot more money than the previous years. So for them, it was a good year. But this is what it looked like. January was the first quarter was like a little bit down compared to the previous Q4. And then it went really high on Q2, super high on Q3 with the big anniversary. And then quite down on Q4 in general. So again, those financial results are including all the games that Klab has and not just Bleach Brave Souls. They were mentioning here that their royalties and costs for commissions decline, but that's to be expected because these are indexed on the revenues. So basically, the more money they make, the more they're going to pay in royalties because these are a percentage of the revenues. So they've had a roughly 25% decline in cost for royalties, but that's also because of the 27% decrease in the revenues. Another thing is the promotion costs declined for the Asia version of Bleach Brave Souls because basically they did a lot of promotion in Q3 for the release of the Asian version, and then they just stopped all this, so they saved some money here. So they saved some money on expenses, on PR and promotions. This is not very important right now. This isn't either. Moving on, there we go. So financial year 2020 financial results. There we go. So this is something that is very important. They clearly say that the impact of the COVID-19 is the following. So currently there is no significant impact on earnings in the mobile game business. So essentially what this means is, yes, COVID-19 is here, but that doesn't mean that it is impacting the mobile game business in general. So they're still operating very well. They actually have less expenses in a lot of things like transportation and a lot of costs that they don't have to worry about. In terms of the company measures, basically the company has shifted to a telecommunication system, so everybody is working from home. and that accounts for about 90% of the staff that is not going to the offices. Yes, loss of disposal of property, plant, and equipment of 44 million yen recorded in the fourth quarter due to the reduction in the size of offices in line with the operating. So basically, like, they're like, yes, let's just like decrease the size of offices, so they're saving costs here. And they're gonna continue doing this as well in the current fiscal year that's happening right now, to save some more costs essentially. Now, revenues for Bleach Souls and Captain Tsubasa performed well throughout the year, so that's something to note. What else do we have? This is not important. Consolidated balance sheet. Yeah, this is not important either. Summary for the year, there we go. So Bleach Brave Souls achieved record high annual revenue in the 6th year since release. So Bleach Brave Souls is going very, very strong for Klab. The only thing, yes, as I mentioned here, in addition to adding distribution areas for existing titles, adding languages, and simultaneously releasing new titles worldwide, the company steadily implemented global expansion by concluding business agreements with EA. More info on that one, where they're developing a sports title coming in 2021, end of 2021 or 2022, not sure just yet. A major publisher that develops games globally. Now, midterm management plan. This is something very important. Essentially, this is their management plan. So the company that's, as I say, so this is what they've observed from the competition. The companies that survive fall into one of the following categories. They have major hits titles that are driving the earnings over the years. So we're looking at like very big IPs that potentially have an anime to back them up. Things like Seven Deadly Sins, things like Dragon Ball, things like One Piece and stuff like that. So in the case of Klab, that would be Bleach Brave Souls. Then they have a portfolio composed of multiple hit titles. So they do have Captain Tsubasa, they do have Bleach Brave Souls, they do have Love Life, and that's about it. These are the major ones for Klab. And then earnings also secured overseas. Now, game policy, that is a very funny one. Fundamental strategy, game policy. So accumulate profits through stable management of existing titles, aka Bleach Brave Souls, for example. So they are focusing on reducing deterioration as much as possible to maintain the top line. So basically, they want to work on the decline of the existing titles, including Bleach Brave Souls. And they also want to work on supporting for multi-platform, multi-device support. So they want to expand the distribution areas and add more monetization methods. Basically, they want to make more money, and they want to be able to offer the experience of their games on more platforms. And you're going to see something about this very, very soon. They want to acquire more IPs to also increase like the fan base and player base on their games, and basically also the revenues. They want to focus on specialty genres and develop games that leverage their strength. This is interesting because you're going to see a bit further down the strategic partnership with EA for sports game. Another one is... No, that's not very important, but yeah. So this is a strategy that they have from 2020 all the way to 2023 with the performance targets. So they want to have earnings based on the existing titles that they have. So they want to try and milk games like Bleach Brave Souls, Captain Tsubasa as long as possible. So they're not going down anytime soon. It's just that the management of those games is pretty terrible lately. They want to release new hit titles, and they want to secure source of earnings other than the conventional means. This is very blurry for now, not too sure what this means. Now, main pipeline for achieving targets. So as you can see, they have the partnership with EA, and then they have the Is It Wrong to Pick Up Girls in Dungeons? That is also, so that machine that is underway. Game policy, there we go. So this is Klab's game policy, their acquisition of popular IPs. So it's like fan base, royalties, and understanding the IPs for the company. So they have this one, they have All Stars, they have Captain Tsubasa, Bleach Brave Souls, EA, and Danmachi. And they want to build a track record that leads to further acquisition of popular IPs. So they want to expand the portfolio of popular IPs that they have, because they realize that fan bases are the ones that you can make the most money on, because these guys are loyal to the core and they will just like follow no matter how you treat them. Example at hand, Bleach Brave Souls. Anyway, game policy, genre strategy. So as I mentioned earlier, so they have the action RPG with Bleach Brave Souls. They have the sports simulation with Captain Tsubasa. They have rhythm action with those 3 games, and that is why like having EA is also good for them. Having the JoJo Bizarre Adventure is also good to expand on the genre, and they also want to have the Danmachi one, which I'm not sure in which genre it's gonna fall, probably in the action RPG, but we'll see. Anyway, in terms of notes, for Bleach Brave Souls, high global demand for action RPGs with strong playing elements, so maybe they're gonna try and have one more title in that category to expand on the genre and consolidate their position. And yes, Bleach Brave Souls is what they call the hit title with global track record in that genre. So as you notice, Bleach Brave Souls is currently the only title of that genre, so they need to consolidate that position because there's a high demand overall for such genre. So this is a strategic title for Klab, and they're not gonna go anytime soon. Now, what made me laugh is I'm a UX designer, and I saw that this pursuit of universal UX. Well, trust me, UX is terrible in that game. But anyway, this is something that's important. So they want to increase the value offered to users. This is a strategy for global expansion. They want to increase the value offered by adding more languages to meet more user needs. So this is something that's going to happen, and Bleach Brave Souls being one of the hit titles, there might be some more languages. And as you can see, the company will closely monitor the sharply increasing digital users in the regions of Southeast Asia, but they've already covered it with Bleach Brave Souls. But then the Middle East, North Africa, so that's like a MENA region with like Arab language, Russia, because there's a huge player base in Russia, and also Latin America for those. So basically like all those languages are like Klab is aware of the demand there, and likely we are going to get other language support for Bleach Brave Souls, because I do see it coming in 2021. But again, this is not guaranteed. This is just me, my take on what this is right here, that they are aware of the value of adding more languages, and we may be getting those languages supported for Bleach Brave Souls in 2021. They also want to have like smooth distribution across new platforms. That's another one. Fair operation without time lag. We all know about the server crashes. We've gotten 2 in 2021 so far. Well done, Klab. And then added value from reduced strain on operation. This is also a very interesting slide. Game policy reinforcements of multi-device, multi-platform. This is my understanding of it. At the end of the day, it's just my understanding. Let me know what you guys think of this, but this is how I see it. So you have maximized value provided through content delivery to multiple devices and platforms. It leads to an increase in revenue. Basically, if you're everywhere, you're going to maximize revenue. If you're just available on one platform, you're going to be limiting yourself in terms of revenue. So if you want to have more revenues, just be available on more platforms. So we know that Klab is focused on mobile. It's about mobile games, started with mobile stuff. But then we also have the emulator version, and then we have the Steam version as well. And the surprising one in the lot is console. Like, why console? Because Klab doesn't have any console game at the moment. So you can probably think about EA, but then EA also wants to consolidate their position on the mobile spectrum. So could be about the EA game, but it could also mean that maybe Klab is looking into bringing Bleach Brave Soul to like the Nintendo Switch or something, or like one of the online stores for like on any of the console games. I don't know. This is like a big stretch right now. Let me know what you guys think of that one slide and what you think it may mean. But if that's the case, and if it's not just for the EA title that might be available both on mobile and on console, so like for example, EA would be focusing on the console version, and Klab would be handling the mobile development for the game, potentially also the cloud and PC version. I don't know. It's one or the other, but it'd be interesting to see Bleach Brave Souls on console, for example. because what they want to do is essentially offer an experience where you can seamlessly play among devices. The more device coverage you have, the more you can expand the player base. And obviously with the anime coming up, they want to be everywhere so that they don't close themselves to potential new customers and users. And they want to increase the level of interactions between the games. So yeah, there's it. And then we have a game policy, diversified monetization. So they realized that having the subscription model in their games was pretty good because it's a recurring revenue model. Means you're going to be getting your bucks every month. It's very stable, so you can basically project your earnings easily. So that's good. And they want to continue doing this essentially, and probably bring it to other games as well. Because like recurring revenue model is something they introduced very recently. It's been less than a year now, and they're trying to do a rollout on other games as well. Now, this is something else that they mentioned, which is very interesting. You're going to laugh at this one. User first, like big jokes. So game policy, they want to minimize deterioration with stable long-term operations. So essentially, they want to preserve games like long-lasting titles like Bleach Brave Souls and make sure that the deterioration of those games is slowed down as much as possible. And for that to optimize everything, they have three main pillars. The first one is efficiency and cost reduction. So if essentially what they want to do is try and automate a bunch of tasks, have AI conducting some of the most repetitive tasks so that they can reduce their operation costs. Then they also want to make a better use of their resources and data. So they want to because they have multiple games, they want to be able to reuse assets. A bit like what they've done between Bleach, I think it was either Bleach 3D Mobile, I think it's Bleach 3D Mobile, where they reuse a bunch of assets. So they want to be able to reuse a bunch of elements between different projects so that they don't have to just rebuild everything from scratch. And this will allow them to save some cost and because of that, increase the earnings. And then the last one, which is the funny one, as a user experience designer myself, it's the user first, as if. So they want to integrate integration of trends in campaigns, one thing. Then they want to reinforce the user communication. And that one, reinforce user communication. Well done. I want to see that because, yes, they've added the official Discord, but we've seen what use they make of that one. And the last one is real events, online or offline. So honestly, this is the funniest bit, reinforcement of user communication and real events. So this is literally what they want to do. User first, have more communication. Well, Caleb, we've seen what we've seen what this is about. So they have focuses on casual games. So this is something else they want to do. Basically, because of their resources, expertise, and all of this, they want to be able to do better than traditional mobile games. So instead of so basically, a traditional mobile game takes about 2 years in development, takes a lot of money, etc., etc. They want to have a more simplistic approach and have volume by having a bunch of casual games that are a lot shorter to develop, that cost a lot less money. They are not in the gacha type. It's just about a bunch of ads, and then you have in-app purchases, and that would be targeting a worldwide audience. So this way, they had this safety mattress at the bottom that they can read a bunch of titles very quickly every year just to increase their revenues as well. So it's a bit of both. They want to have the big games, hit games, and that they develop, so 1 or 2 big projects a year, and then they want to have this numbers game with a bunch of casual games as well. Up next, other promotion of Japanese IP for game development, blah, blah, blah. This is about the JoJo. Then approach to original IPs. Image for growth. They plan to have a big growth, just keep growing until that in the future. They still want to work on the existing titles as long as possible. Basically, they want to milk those titles as long as they can. They know that Bleach Brave Soul is going to get the anime very soon, so they are counting on this. They also know about Danmachi, that the anime is coming back in 2022, if I'm not mistaken, which is very good for them because this way it's going to have a lot of traction as well. So they're playing on both this, and I think Danmachi is one of those that they see as one of their potential future hit titles. These are some forecasts. And then, not very important. Profits. Yeah, not very important. And yeah, there we go. So new development. So they've got 3 titles that are in development, including like 2 projects that are being scheduled. And then the support model, it says like 7 titles here. I do think that this means like the small games that they talk about, like all the easy ones are not in the gacha game industry, but more in terms of like just like random little like mobile games, and the 2 big ones over there. This is what they said, that what I mentioned about Danmachi and them like planning to really like piggyback on the anime coming back for this one. So the original work is based on the popular novel with a total series publishing of 12 million copies. So this is what they want, popular IPs. With the broadcast of the first series of TV animation 2015, it acquired global popularity. The TV animations have been broadcasted through the 3rd series up until now, and in 2019, a theatrical version was also released. And on January 31st, 2021, so a couple of months ago, the 4th series of TV, basically the 4th season has been announced to be scheduled for 2022. So their plan is to just like benefit from the release of the 4th season 2022 and the whole momentum that is currently happening around the series. And then a bunch of a few things that are not very interesting. Although this is just like the game title list. So they have Love Idol, Bleach Brave Souls, Tsubasa, Utano Princess, Yu Yu Hakusho, Bleach, Kyo, and then, so I think it's Bleach 3D Mobile, and then Magatsu War Heist, as well as those 2. This one is declining. What's funny is like it started in July 2020, and it's already on decline. This one is from 2019, still going strong, which is good. But what's more interesting is out of all the games, Bleach Brave Soul is actually the current like biggest one that they have, with 50 million downloads worldwide. Obviously, we know that downloads don't mean users, but still, it is the biggest one at the moment with 50 million downloads worldwide. Even Love Life, that came a lot before. Love Life is from 2013, and yet it's at 45 million downloads. So Bleach Brave Soul is definitely their biggest hit at the moment. What's funny is like Captain Tsubasa has like all support for like all those languages. Meanwhile, Bleach Brave Soul has only English and French, as well as now traditional Chinese, simplified Chinese, Korean, and Thai. So yeah, guys, that is it for this video. I like making those kind of videos where I dig in further to the numbers, the strategy, try to understand what is coming next for the game. And stay tuned, because we're going to have Q1 of 2021 coming up very soon. As soon as I have it, I'm going to look at it and make another video of it. So anyway, you guys, let me know what you think of this video. Let me know in the comments below what you've gotten from this. If you agree, disagree with what I said, my thoughts. And on that note, I'll see you next time. Tschüss.